No.
We should actually dive into this tangent a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
Because what you're reminding me of is I just became aware that wrestling pay-per-views seem to consistently have a theme song.
Oh yeah, no, WWF
Because-
now WWE. For those of you who haven't watched wrestling since you were kids, like most normal people, they are all about marketing partnerships.
Yeah.
Okay, so they do lots of stuff. They used to have a lot of backstage skits as ads. They don't do that as much anymore, but they would be for stuff like Snickers or KFC or what have you. So a good example of this, though, we talked about this before, the Southpaw Regional Wrestling. It's 4 skits that WWE did like a month ago. They're hilarious. They're legitimately awesome. If you've never watched wrestling, and especially if you've never watched like old like territorial day wrestling from the South, you might not get it. But I feel like even if you had it, it's one of those things that's so obviously bad that it'd be funny. And it's a chicken ad. It's a KFC ad. And like when you realize that,
Yeah.
it's done so well that you're not even like upset that it's an ad. You're like, oh, it's an ad. That was so smooth. Like, because most of the time when they would do the backstage skits, you're just like, oh, this is so dumb. Yeah, I get it. It's the Snickers, whatever. Who cares? But yeah, so they max everything out. And the thing that they seem to do without fail, every pay-per-view has at least one quote-unquote theme song. And that just means that it's like the segue music that they play on the regular programming when they're like, and then this Sunday, look forward to, and in the background they're playing whatever. And so it's been like, the only ones I remember are like Demi Lovato, right?
Yeah.
Pitbull, because
Yes.
if you've ever watched the podcast, you know we love Pitbull. So, and that was actually for WrestleMania. That was last week, where not only
Yes, well, this is how I learned that there's a theme song because, like you said, so I watched WrestleMania. Well, I wouldn't say I watched WrestleMania. I would say
watched WrestleMania.
I intended to watch WrestleMania, and I ended up watching like 5 to 10 minutes of WrestleMania.
It was 7 hours,
and also,
so I
so-
understand why
yeah.
you might not have
But
watched
so
the whole thing.
my intent was to see Pitbull, and yeah, and then I realized that the song Greenlight was like on a nonstop loop. Whenever anything was not happening, you heard Pitbull and or Lunch Money Lewis and or Flo Rida rapping about
I mean,
green light
it was
for wrestling.
It was. They played it so many times in the lead up that I started to get Stockholm syndrome for it.
Well, again, okay. His occasionally, I will say it depends. Like that, I get what you're saying because like I've also had that one stuck in my head and I didn't completely mind as far as like his songs. But I guess I've had long-term Stockholm syndrome with Pitbull in general, where I just kind of accepted him, you know, and that he understands that music is only 10% music.
It is 90+% business.
10%
So
music.
right. So the thing was like they kept playing it just an absurd amount, and then Pitbull actually performed, quote unquote performed. It was they lip synced, like they shouted over there, like even if there were things coming out of their mouths, the track was playing too.
Right.
So it was weird. I'm not even sure what you call that.
It was like so you know how they usually have the guide vocal where they can dial it.
Oh yeah,
up
but
or down.
this was like
just
way
the
more than
track.
a guide vocal.
This was
It
like
the track.
playing off iTunes, and they're like, "Oh, we didn't bring a track, but you got iTunes, right? I'm Pitbull,
So okay, so
Mr. Worldwide."
So some interesting things. So I haven't found. Like I said, I thought they were the theme song for one of the pay-per-views. Apparently, they were Randy Orton's theme at some point. I'm not sure.
Five Finger was?
Yeah, because there was.
I'm calling him Five Finger now because we're cool like that. Until we start talking shit about the music, and then we won't be cool anymore. But for now,
there was like
Five Finger.
I didn't watch any wrestling. There was like a period of like 10 years where
FFPP?
where like for like 7 of those years I didn't have a television.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, but yeah, I feel like unfortunately Google is not immediately giving me like, oh yeah, they did this pay-per-view.
So the only other thing I can think of as far as WrestleMania and Pitbull that we really need to mention is it was announced that he was going to be doing a medley, and they announced it was going to be with Lunch Money Lewis and Flo Rida, and you're like, so like a medley of that one hit song those guys are. Oh no, and Skip Marley, or maybe it's that might be the wrong Marley. I'm not sure. Whichever Marley.
It's a different Marley. It's not
you're right.
Skip,
it's not Skip.
but I'm not sure
Skip just did something else that was also equally dumb.
The one who did Options.
Right. Which yeah, that's so yes. So
he's not talking about financial.
No, yeah, it's the narrative is the story is, I have options, but you are the top one. So if it's not a problem, could I get some of your love? So basically, can we?
Yeah, it's like the least romantic.
Right. It's like simultaneously as sleazy as possible, but as also like PG as possible. But also
because Rasmussen's PG now.
But also
in case
like
anyone
make it sound vaguely like like there's got to be it's like the bullshit romance that goes on top of the sleazery in real life, right? When dudes are like, "Yo, girl, you got me falling in love with that ass," like nobody thinks you're actually like actually that like that new Ed Sheeran song, right? Like that's the other thing with that where I noticed I was like, so okay, so like you're getting too old and like you're like balling too hard to seem super sensitive, right? Like that, like it's starting to come up, be like, oh, he parties or whatever. Yeah, no shit. He's rich and like 20 or whatever. So, but his latest song was like, "I'm in love with your body," and I'm like, so your whole thing is like,
yeah, I mean, you can't. Well, also, I'm pretty sure most people like hasn't that been a big movement recently? The thing about like, it's simultaneously being like objectification, right? Because it's like with your body, it's like, aren't you supposed to be in love with a person?
Right. It's like, isn't it supposed to be like, right? So like, right? They can't. It's like they kind of don't get the difference between the like fun, sexy thing and then the like love, romantic thing. And like, if you try to combine them, then there's ways you can combine them.
At least,
but they're just kind of like mashing them together weird.
Well, I liked how in the '90s we were like, "What is love? Baby, don't hurt me." It's
people were like honest about like, you know,
they're like, this crazy world. I don't know. I got money. Things are confusing.
You're right, and I think that was the big exploration of the '90s. But then by the 2000s, the answer was, who gives a shit? Is it selling or not? I don't give a fuck. What are the teenagers buying? And then they're like, as long as you say both. At least once per song, make it sound like a love song, and once per song, make it sound like a dirty, dirty sex song.
And it's like, it's gotta be.
Yeah, and like, and manage. Well, and that's it. Like, I mean, I don't want to get too deep into like this is like one thing I've learned from the Rap Critic, who we're on YouTube now too. So hey, Rap Critic, I'll send you a link. Maybe you can
fellow YouTubers.
Maybe you can respond to me on Twitter. So. I totally lost my train of thought because of that. Anyway, Rap Critic. So like the thing I noticed in a lot of rappers is the effect of like people not, but by the time they pay a close enough attention to all of your lyrics, they're already a fan.
Oh yeah, they're already in.
So you realize like a great one was Kanye and 2 Chainz. I think it might have been Birthday Song. You know, all I want for my birthday is, but yeah, there's this whole thing in there where Kanye he briefly raps sort of on topic, or it sounds like it's going to be on topic, but then even though there's only like 3 topics in rap, they still can't like stay on topic, and they won't even go like, it's one thing if you do like a verse and then you do another verse and you kind of shift the topic, but they'll just go like a couple of lines in and then just be like, I'll steal your girlfriend. Like, what? That wasn't what we were talking about. But you're just like, you know, whatever. One of the usual things. Like, he's just kind of like, I'll say some more words and then I get paid. Like, that's all that really matters.
Be like, yeah, but that beat. See?
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. So, similar kind of thing. I don't know. I forget. I got on that, but cool. So Pitbull. All right, that was like the tone of all of Pitbull's songs, right? They're like he earlier on he oh god, it's gonna turn into a half Pitbull episode.
That's fine.
It's fine.
People, there's a lot to talk about.
It's always good to talk about Pitbull. But so like that song is a perfect example of his his kind of tone. But I also noticed from it how like the language earlier on, like, well, okay, first of all, earliest on, it was Spanish, right? Like Pitbull started off mostly like rapping in Spanish. Then he started rapping more in, like it was like half and half, or there would be like an English version, Spanish version. And then it kind of hit this point where like it was kind of half and half, but like he was kind of like an R-rated rapper for a while, you know, like at least that seemed to be the angle.
Well,
Until I think he started getting the big sponsorships and stuff, and then they kind of, I mean, there were like, you know, radio edits and stuff, obviously, like the explicit version and the clean version.
well, it's funny that you point that out, right? So to go back to the fact that they were just on WrestleMania and that WWE is PG now and everything, right? The thing that cracked me up was every time they have that line, you know, the kind of cargo that I transport, right? Because I'm like, that's PG, right?
Yes.
Talking about your drug trafficking.
If you if you know, then you know, but they didn't say it, so it's okay. Like it's technically, well, yeah. So like, but so similar is like the like early Pitbull songs were just like we get it, you gonna fuck, like we get it. Like literally that one where he's doing all the sorry, it's not the one where he's in. There's several songs where he does counting. There's a lot of songs.
Yeah, there are.
I was like, you know, the one where he does the counting. Like, no, that's not specific enough. The one I'm thinking of is Hotel Room Service, because there's this whole rhyming and counting where he's like 1, 2, I'm gonna undress you. Oh no, it was. See, I can never get the rhyme right because it's like it doesn't even.
It's so dumb.
It doesn't work.
It's
Oh no,
so
sorry.
dumb.
It's no. Right, he's like what? No, it's slower counting. It's like 1, 1. Fuck, how does it go? I don't know, whatever. The point is, he says he's gonna undress you, and you're gonna undress him. Blah 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 blah. And when he gets to 4, there are these like, we're gonna freak some more. Like that's all that rhymes. But again, at least he was like he was more. There's more describing things that are happening before, in and or around sex. And now he's had to mellow it out so much because he's fully like Mr. Worldwide, meaning Mr. like all audiences of all ages. There's like just like these little hints in there. Like there's some song where he, you know, it'll be like, you know, where he's like face down, ass up. That's the way we like to what? Like, we know what it is. We know that that's the way you like to. Like everyone knows that song since like decades ago. So like you're referencing, so you're just, but you have to rep. So that's what it is. You just, I mean, and it's already a lot of references to other people's songs as it is. So you just add more. So you just reference the stuff that you're, I guess, at least seemingly a mature audience would want.
You know, I speaking of Pitbull, I recently became aware of the Kroll Show character. That's a parody of him.
Yes, which I forgot about.
Senior
Feature.
That's it. I saw that and I was like, man, I gotta watch, because I've only ever seen one episode of Kroll Show and it was amazing.
Yeah.
But I just don't have time to like be watching stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
But I'm like, I have to watch this now. I have to like see all the senior.
The whole show. I mean, there's not a
God.
ton of him, but the whole
2
show is
minutes
great.
that I saw.
The whole show is great,
amazing.
and you'll love the.
I call it Foot Lauderdale.
He's got this like Bret Michaels character.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
like doing a rock love type thing. Oh, no, well, no. First, it's like I don't want to. You get it. This is great. Boys, 80s butt rock jokes, plenty, and there's so much good stuff in that show. But yeah, the Senior Feature, who's trapped in a green screen.
Yeah,
hell
in
of
green screen prison.
A prison of his own design. Yeah, and that was right around when a lot of Pitbull videos were coming out, where like if you pay attention for 3 seconds, you realize that the person he was guesting on was never in the same room as, like they were never in the same shot.
Right, yeah.
He's always somewhere else on a different beach. They're both on a beach, but they're not the same beach. And they're both surrounded by dancers, but they're not the same dancers. So, yeah. All right, let's get back.
Well, he's not allowed to cross state lines due to the kind of cargo that he transports.
That's true.
Because they know the kind of cargo that he transports.
Before I forget, the other thing was they said it was going to be a medley, and it is not a medley when you play half a song and then you play another song.
Was it really half though?
It was, or maybe it was all of.
It seemed like it could have been the full song. It wasn't one
You're
of those.
right. I have
It wasn't
no way
like
of
at the
telling.
Super Bowl where you're like they cut that song short. It's like that sounded like the full song.
How long is
I mean, look, because when you're in the club, right? You know, there's never dead air. It was definitely at least as much as they play in the club.
Like it looks like it's a 4-minute song. I felt like maybe, honestly, I would have no way to tell.
Unless we timed it.
unless I unless I like watched it and simultaneously watched the real because like I don't know how many verses are in that song and how many times would I've listened to like try to remember. Anyway,
Stephen Marley.
the point is all they played was
that's the one, by the
the
way.
exact. They're like, ooh, they're gonna play some. You know, they're gonna play Greenlight, obviously, but what else are they gonna play? Who knows? I mean, we know exactly what it is because you can tell by if they name who's appearing with Pitbull. It's basically telling you a
They
set
also
list.
did put out a press, like I don't know if it's press release, but it was on the website like a
Right.
couple days before. Yeah, and they basically said, and that was when we were like, how can it be a medley? If it's like
Right, yeah.
only 2 songs.
And you know what they're gonna do because it's whichever Marley and Flo Rida and Lunch Money. All right, so yeah, Pitbull and WrestleMania also appropriate because like we discussed how Pitbull is to music what WWE is to wrestling, right? like yeah, that's wrestling. Yeah, sure.
Right. A lot of times when you say wrestling, people think pro wrestling.
Right.
A lot of times you say music, people think Pitbull. It's like neither one's necessarily right, but I get it.
Yeah, I get why you would think that.